Hello Flosstube, welcome back. It's Sian here, Periwinkle Stitcher. Today is Friday the 16th of May and today is my 1 year anniversary of doing Flosstubes. I can't believe I've been doing them for a year because, as I say, every time I press go, it feels like my very first time doing a video. But I have got so much to share with you. Thank heavens I did a separate Flosstube special for the Stacey Nash retreat, because I have been, for somebody that normally stays at home and doesn't leave the house, all I've done is go out and about meeting people to fabulous stitching and quilting shows. So I have got a lot of haul. And last month I didn't have any haul. Do you remember? Apart from my fabric of the month and my project bag clubs, I don't think I got any haul. So you're going to have to forgive me today, because it's like buses coming along, you know, everything arrives all at once. And I've been out because since I saw you last week on Tuesday, I went to Portbury to the retreat to meet some of the lovely girls that I met down in Cowslip, and also to meet Becky, who I didn't get to meet face to face there, from Willow and Hare Stitching. And she said, oh, Sian, come to Portbury and meet me. So I've got a whole tale to tell you about Portbury and the ladies I met, the things I bought. And then on Thursday, yesterday, I went to the Malvern Quilt Show, which was just amazing. Again, I didn't expect it to be that good. I was on a no-buy day. That was a total fail. I could hardly carry the bag back to the car. How the handles didn't fall off, I don't know. So I've got so much to share with you today. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I have got one FFO to share with you. I finished this a while ago, actually, because I was really keen to get it done in time to go down to Stacey Nash's retreat down in Cornwall. And this was, you'll remember, I shared my progress on this last month. The very first thing I started after market, I think, this year. It's Lily the Animal Cracker series by Stacey Nash. And Lily the Frog was just so cute, but did take quite a lot of stitching, actually. So the call for this was 36 count needle bling red dirt road, which I've never seen it for sale in Britain, so I don't know if I could even get it. But I picked something that I thought was a pale sort of creamy colour linen to match the chart. And here she is. And I couldn't love her more. I did a poll on, not a poll, I did put a story up on Instagram a couple of weeks ago when I first finished her, to say to bling or not to bling. And honestly, so many people played along and made a comment on that post. It was mind-blowing how many people responded. And everyone said bling, except two people. One lady said, no, primitive stitches like this shouldn't be blinged. And Nikki Franklin said, no, Sian, she's lovely as she is. Please don't bling her. So I was shocked because Nikki, as you know, she's the queen of good taste. So I was sort of torn. But because there were hundreds of comments saying bling her, I sort of, I suppose, gently blinged her. Well, apart from the crown, which is totally over the top, sort of bordering on being chavvy. She's a chavvy frog. But she's got a necklace, and she's got a little holographic bird, which I've had these in my stash for so long. They come from my little shop half a mile down the road here. She's called Crafty So-and-so. Isn't that the best name in the world for a stitching shop? And she's the loveliest lady. She's been down the bottom of City Road in Cardiff for something like 40 years. I love her. When I go in, I'm always in there for an hour chatting to her. And she had these at the till a couple of months ago. So I picked that up. But these things, you know, you've always got knocking about in your stash and you never know how to use them. I did put little sequins on her toes. These are very tasteful sequins because these are Nikki Franklin's. They came, oh, I haven't got my box to hand now. They came in here it is, in a tiny little, let me show you this cute, I don't want to tip it too high, right, very old vintagey sequins in a tiny little watchmaker's box with the old sort of vintage 14/8 written on the top with a cross, so it's like a clock or a watchmaker's box for storing little bits. Aren't they darling? I tried to find some of these to get more, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So I don't know where Nikki found those, but she collects all sorts of gorgeous things like that. So I finished it exactly as for the instructions. So you draw a 1/4 inch seam all around the edge of your finished stitching, and you stitch on that, and then you leave a gap in the bottom. And I leave a little bit more than 1/4 inch here to give you room to tuck more inside, if that makes sense. You don't get any fraying. And then I use the freezer paper, you know, the very famous freezer paper. I've forgotten the brand of it, but I use it for all my Bunny Hill applique. And you trace out the heart on that, so you can get a really nice rounded shapes, and then use my Singer's sewing machine to sew the two together and turn inside out, because it's sort of lined. So there's 2 layers of this lovely sandy Gervais fabric that I tried to do all my pockets the same. So I did the same pocket on the back of Clovis as well. I just love that fabric. I don't know what I'm going to do when it runs out, because I've only got a fat 1/4. So I couldn't be more chuffed with her. She stitched on 36 count seraphim antique lace. The crown was just a pack of 10 cheap charms off Amazon. The beads for the necklace were the Mill Hill antique glass beads, that number. And again, I've had these since the early 1990s, when I finished the lavender and lace Angel of Spring, which was all these dusky rosy pinks, and the gorgeous little beads here and there covering the odd pale green stitches. I just put the beads over those. So there's some on her legs, Nikki's vintage sequins on her toes, and a couple on her arms there. I just thought that was sort of, and they're lovely holographic beads. And they're these ones. They're called Mayuki seed beads, size 11, yellow lined aqua beads. So I think I got those at, well, there's a number of really big bead shops. I can't remember, to be honest, where I got them, but there's loads of bead shops, and they're really beautiful. Can you see them? They're sort of holographic. So I've used those on a number of the needle books that I finished as well. So I couldn't be more chuffed with her. She's really cute. And I used all the call for. I didn't do, okay, I cheated. I didn't do the 1/1 stitching on the drum, because I would have, but I wouldn't have got it done in time to take it down and show Stacey. So I wanted to take her down in my travel case with the other crackers to show the girls. So what I did, I just, you know, these little blank bobbins you can get from just craft shops. It's an empty one, and I just wrapped some Lady.Create vintage sewing tape measure, you know, for finishing. I just wrapped a couple of inches of that round her. So I think she's gorgeous. She's quite a big girl. I'm really tempted next time to have a go at trying the crackers on 1/1 on maybe a 25 count. But we'll see how that goes. And I've got these gorgeous little Merchant and Mills mini scissors. They just fit in the back there beautifully. So that's Lily, the animal cracker. That was my sort of only finish for the month, fully finished, to be honest. So now I'll show you my whips. So here's my book of days. I've been keeping it. I've got some lovely Laurie Holt stickers here, and my Barry. Oh, and Barry, we're thinking of you and sending lots of love. Such a difficult time you're going through at the minute, but we miss you and love you a lot. And here are some of Barry's fabulous stickers for finishes that I've had as I've been going along in the month. So that's my book of days, which I do keep every day. I can chuck that down there now. And so my first whip that I work on every month, you know very well this one. This is my lovely Charlotte Warrington in my Barry Stitch Folk bag with my Nancy 5x Bless bling on the side. And this is the gorgeous Charlotte Warrington 1838 by Needlework Press that Vicky signed for me on the back. Enjoy every stitch. I'm about to a third of the way along, And this is one that Colorado Cross Stitcher kitted up because it was an exclusive for the Homespun Needlework group. And I think I got the 3rd edition because mine is on hog bristle, and I chose all the Weekstein Works over dyed threads, and I've still got all these left. Even though I am on my 2nd Red Rocks, which is the house that I finished now with the gorgeous bling there. And so this is my progress. Where's my board? Here. This is my progress on Charlotte. Oh, I love her. So this, I folded it as, you know, on the line. So this is solid stitching here. There's nothing more to see on the back. And this time I went up and started taking the border up. I finished this pink flower and carried on up here. And that's all I've done this month. It's most of a page. So it's most of the stitching on one more of the pages. But yeah, I thought I need to get back to a bit of more on the fiddly border rather than just doing the filling, which is easy stitching that maybe I could leave for a month when it's really hot, you know, when I'm just stitching in the evenings, because the weather here is just absolutely glorious. Honestly, I've never known weather ever in Wales be as hot as this. It is baking hot. April and May have just been fantastic. So we're having to water the garden, which is so unusual. And they're talking of drought and everything coming our way. So there's Lottie. She's absolutely stunning. And so many people are stitching along with this. And I actually took this to Portbury to show the girls because Becky said, please bring some of your stitching with you. So I took Lottie to share. And then every month I'm trying to do a little bit more on my... this is my Hands Across the Sea one in my gorgeous Laurie Holt bag that I bought the panel and finished up. And I'm pretty sure that the little charm on this bag was from the lady that I met at Sampler Symposium called Odette Bragg. I think she was from Australia or New Zealand. Australia, I fancy. So she gifted me that. And this is my lovely Jane Bannister 1855, which is a Welsh sampler from the Isle of Anglesey, and it is beautiful. This border is just stunning. But this time I was determined to start to come in on one of these baskets. I thought I would get one done. I tell you, I spent 3 days on this. I didn't get even one of them done. And there's 2 on there, as you can see. I'm stitching this with all of the fabulous... I've got my little floss drop thing there. And these are with the fabulous silks that Phil bought me from their Verissoir, aren't they? Soie d'Alger of Verissoir. And they're the puffy ones. Oh, and I forgot to say that Lottie's on 40 count straw, which is the most stunning linen. Love it. And when I showed the girls on Tuesday, everyone couldn't get over the linen, how lovely it is. So this one is on Tabby Cat linen, which is an unnamed one. And it's actually, I was talking to Michelle from Tabby Cat Linen about the linens. And this is on a type of linen that in the USA you call Legacy. And in Italy, it's called Sotema linen. And I couldn't love it more. It's a real sort of browny grey. Just love grey linen. So here you can just about see, have I got it the right way up? Yes, I do. So it's a bit bright in here. I don't even know, I can't see it on the camera, but in here, there's like a yellow straw basket effect, you know, crosses going up and down in like a diagonal to make it look like a straw basket with the beautiful pale blues. And then I'm coming in to do that rose and the peachy colours. So yeah, there's a real bright red silk that we've not had in the border before. So I'm starting to use different colours, which is really fun. This is such a fabulous stitch and I love the border of this just so much. Let me show you the actual scale of it. I mean, she's big. Isn't it beautiful? I really enjoyed stitching on that this month. The count of this linen is 37 counts, so it's a bit unusual, but it fits those puffy Verissoir silks really, really nicely. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be you wouldn't want to be working on something too tight with them because they are very puffed. Right, then the next one that I tried to get a little bit on every month, and actually this was the last project that I stitched on because I haven't stitched for 3 days now. I'm starting to get twitchy. This one is in my gorgeous Barry bag with a Nancy felt strawberry on the side, and this is my Mani di Donna Eunice Tanquerel, and I'm just plodding along across the top. I've come up the side and I'm keeping going on this border across the top. Now this, someone asked me about the threads for this. Oh, I'm all in a tangle. So this is just done, I shouldn't say just done, it's with the fabulous DMCs. I've got one hanging out there. These are the DMCs with my lovely drop from Sharon Chris Silver in the US that did the cartonage class. And these colours are beautiful. So let me explain to you. Somebody was worried that the chart all looked like browns and golds, but the roses are a very, very pale pink. And this is just ecru DMC where it looks white. So this is how far I've got now. I've gone all the way up the side, a little bit at the bottom right corner, and then this far across the top. So I did another repeat this time of the roses from, I think I filled in the rest of that one and then all the way. So that's one whole repeat. So there's quite a few, I think there's 5 across the top. I've got a long way to go. Again, she's a really big girl. So this is on 40 count weeks cocoa, which I love. I love the fact that all my projects are on such different fabrics and they're all quite strong colours. But this is a beautiful stitch and I couldn't love it more. And it's just weeks linen, readily available, and DMC, you know, it's a cheap project to kit up, and yet it is so stunning. So yeah, there's a lot of olive greens and golds, and I'll try and put some photographs up close at the end so you can see the pink in the roses there. Yeah, love it, really love it, and can't wait to get back to her. I do like having these stitches that I'm doing just a little bit a month. It's just about regularly enough to almost remember the symbols for the stitches, because if you put things away for Whitgo, it's like having to start all over again. Now this month I was really pleased that I managed to get some time on my gorgeous project, which I bought when I was at the attic in January, again in one of my stunning Barry Stitch Folk bags. You have the loveliest stitching. And that's the stickers that we got to stick in the Book of Days with the little goose and the animals on. Now this is a beautiful stitch. I got 2 red girls in here. And the one I managed to get done, I worked on it. I did 2 threads every morning for about 5-6 days, something like maybe a week actually, straight after I filmed my last Flosstube. So this is by Cozy Egg. It's 15 Friends and it's Jane Anne 1871. I absolutely love this sampler. I saw a sample on the wall at the attic, on a table, sorry, not the wall, but it was done in a beautiful red, but I was inspired to choose this dusty colour pink by my lovely friend Sandy, Whispered Stitches on Instagram, and it's number 305, and I think it's a relatively new colour. I'm not sure about that, but someone said they couldn't find it, and it could be because it's new. So I stocked up on those at the attic. I'm sure they're available, and this is in one of my lovely Hands Across the Sea things that came in one of the, well, I've only got one red box, in the red box that I've got, and I think it was the Wow box, the Words of Wisdom. And this is my progress. I absolutely love this. So this is on stunning linen. It's 46 count, needle and flax Thornfield, which is really mottled. A bit like Tabby Cat, isn't it, I think? By, I've forgotten the one, you know, the one that's very, very mottled. Some people love it, some don't. And this is the great progress that I've got done. So I've done, I think, all the alphabets at the top and maybe something else as well. I can't remember what I did last time, but I know I've done all those letters at the top. So obviously what she was doing was her 1 to 10 in, because it took me a while to work out what it meant. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, it starts at 1, 2, I'm on the 3. So then it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's 50, 100, 1,000, is it? Wow, it's a long time since I've done my Roman numerals, but you get the gist of it. So that was really fun to do that. And also, when I assessed what the pattern was about, it stopped me from making any mistakes. Then the next project I worked on, in this gorgeous quarterly club bag from Barry. This was the last one we got. No, it wasn't. This was second but last. This is my cross stitch antiques, isn't it? Signed by Kathleen. And this is Julia Rachel de la Mare, 1849, a Guernsey sampler. Very beautiful. This was an exclusive kit, again in the Homespun Needlework group. But this one was supplied by Country Sampler, and they brought it out to the attic to Sampler Symposium when I was there. So I picked it up in person from Pam and Linda. Hello, girls. I'm going to stitch along for this with the lovely Rika and my friend Britta, and loads of other people are joining in on this, and it's such a pretty stitch. And I know Jackie Comfort Stitching started this, and she's a lot further ahead than I am. So we're stitching this with the lovely, I think it's a variety. Yeah, it's a few weeks, but mainly this is on the Classic Colourworks. There's a couple of Gentle Arts, beautiful colours. And the jury was out about that bright green avocado, but it does look stunning. Let me show you. So this is stitched on 40 count. It came as a kit. 40 count needle and flax Hemingway, which is a beautiful fabric, very mottled. And last time I got just the green border into meat. This time I took the avocado bright green up and both the sides. I think it looks fine. I filled in some of the berries with a really beautiful bright red. And there are 2 dark greens in this, and I filled in a couple of these berries here. And then this side, I started to put in some of the reds on these big roses on the side. So there's a cream, what's in there? There's like a really pale pink, it's highly variegated, and a dark red. So this is going to be so much fun. I think there are some browns to come in these flowers now, and some people are changing that out, but I think I'm going to stick with all the call for. Yeah, so I can't wait to get a bit more on the border done, and then I'll start moving in. It's not that big a sampler. It's a lovely size, so I think it'll be fun to start on some of the motifs. Yeah, love that project. I say that about them all, don't I? But they are so lovely. Okay, then I had a new start. Just pick that. A new start. So this was, I showed you this last time, in the gorgeous bag made by Rika from House of Stitch and Stash. And she made one of these bags for me and for herself, obviously, and one for Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, because we're going to be doing this. I made a little fob. And Rika, look at her gorgeous writing. She can do that fancy copperplate writing. Mary Ann Farmer, 1834. What a project. Actually, let me tell you the fabric that this was stitched on, because I asked Rika, I didn't know last time. So the Mary Ann Farmer bag is made up in Howard Marcus collection for a cause, Unity. That's the name of the fabric, and I think it was available at the Fat Quarter shop. So isn't that beautiful? Oh, it's so pretty. And inside it's lined like that. So this chart is one by the Scarlet House, and actually Tanya was on a lovely Flosstube with Caroline from the attic, and they showed this chart, and I think I got muddled last time and said that there was one on the wall at Country Sampler, but if there is, that's just a model stitch, because obviously Tanya's got the original. Now the model was stitched on 40 count doubloon by Picture This Plus, but my doubloon was very, very yellow. Sorry for the glare. So I changed the fabric. Me and Rika, I think we're using the same fabric, and maybe Jessica as well, actually. But this time we're using the attic conversion. Oh, I mustn't show you that. The attic conversion, if you want to know, you need to contact the attic. And we're using the Mary Ann Farmer 1834 attic silk conversion, which I'm using in these, the Quilted Bear box, which holds 2,703 spools. There's the thing for the Quilted Bear, and I just write on the back what the project is, and I put them in number order so you can easily find where to go. But look at the stunning colours there, and Rika was so kind to gift me those, so I keep those in that lovely little box. And I started it, and I was quite pleased with how much I got done, because I stitched like mad. Now this is on 40 count Cedar River Overcast, Cedar River linens by my lovely friend Jodie, Trixie Tricycle. And yes, this is I bought this when I was in the attic. It's the first time I've used Jodie's linens, and they are gorgeous. It's quite a sort of tight weave, I would say. So this is 40 count, and for me that's small enough. And I did get the whole of the I'm pretty sure I finished that main motif in the center here. Yeah, so I can work up now and count the border off the top. So that's where I am. Isn't it beautiful? Some of the colors, there's a gorgeous petrol blue, and that bright sort of, it's not bright, is it? It's a dusky pink. Really pretty colours, and quite unusual. Yeah, it's pinks and greens and quite two blues in there. One's quite bright and one's a darker petrol blue. So really pretty, gorgeous stitch. Yeah, thoroughly recommend that. It is quite a big stitch. I think because it's sparse, they're all spread out, aren't they, the little motifs? But it is 259 wide by 193 tall. So yeah, it's still a big girl. Right, next I did my 25th of the month stitch along with my lovely friends Lizzie the Stitcher from New Zealand and Linda HMB Fog on Instagram, my friend in the US. Isn't it amazing that on the 25th we've got me here in Wales and someone in New Zealand and the US all stitching, maybe in overlapping hours. This is in my gorgeous Acufactum bag that came from the stitchery with the lovely thread bed. And this stitch is my Christmas one for the 25th of the month, my Blackbird design, the bells on Christmas Day. And I've made that gorgeous drawstring bag, which I keep my little key tags in to label all my projects. So this is stitched with the absolute classic, mainly weeks, but actually a variety, but classic Blackbird colours, all those dusky pinks and lots of greeny browns. Just love this. All the usual sort of palomino and red pear. Love this stitch. Look how small it is. It's going to be so cute. So this time I went all the way around the border, and so I've got the full scale of it now. It's going to be so small and pretty and really easy to frame myself for Christmas. And this is stitched on Picture This Plus 40 count in Oaken, which is a gorgeous, really mottled dark brown. It's just beautiful. I love it. Look at the house. Yeah, peace on earth. Gosh, we need that, don't we? Peace on earth right now. Yeah, so that's a lovely stitch, and it's nice to have a little stitch along like that. And we've decided that on the 4th of August, we're going to start another annual stitch, maybe on the 4th of every month. I don't know why Linda picked that. We thought we would do With Thy Needle and Thread, Welcome Spring. You know, the little sheep. I'll bring the chart out next time. I forgot to bring it. Right, then what happened was, although Mary Ann Farmer was a new start, I had 2 other new starts because Stitching Gem had the great idea of having Market Mania. So instead of Mania, where you start a new project every day for the month of May, or however you want to do it, one a week, she was going to do one, I think she said every weekend, and there's 5 weekends in May, for one of your market charts. Now, I'd already started about 4 market charts because I started the Rose Hill Farm sampler by Stacey Nash. I started Lily. I started loads of things, but I did think I could maybe start some smalls each weekend. So the first one I picked, and I was dying to start this, I showed you, I had it all kitted up ready. This was one of the ones I bought at market. And it was an exclusive for a long time and I couldn't wait to get it. So this was Plum Street, Tomato Hill, stitched on 36 count, it called for, I think I bought 40, Cafe au lait by Fibre on a whim. Because see, it looked cream there, and when mine came, it was quite orange, but I went with it anyway. So there's the little scissor fob I made for it, and one of my lovely thread milk Silco drops. And I started this and I got a little bit done. Isn't it lovely? Look at all the different oranges and reds to make the tomatoes. So the house does pop nicely, but my colour Cafe au lait is quite more like hot chocolate. But it is lovely. Love that. So I don't know how long it'll take me to finish it, but I'm dying to get back to some smalls, I have to say. I haven't done that much stitching on little things. And then, so that was for the first weekend. The second weekend then, again, this won't be a surprise because I told you I wanted to start this one. I've done 2 out of the 4 and I love them all. So this is Spring Swan by Brenda Gervais, With Thy Needle and Thread. And this was easy to kit up with these gorgeous colours. Mainly drawn to it because of lettuce leaf. I just love that. And those gorgeous primrose yellows. Actually, the 2 of them, remember, they're almost identical. So they're going to be really, really pretty. This is in a cute little bag that I made with Brenda Riddle fabrics. Yeah, I think this was the Dover range. I love Brenda Riddle. And this is my progress on, it's this way up, on the swan. So I've just done a few of the leaves. Now this is on 40 count, Just Wygart Vintage Country Mocha. And you know, it's a tight stitch. So it's very, very small to fill in white stitches, but you know, it's fine. And they do look neat on that. So you can see, I think I've done about 3 of the, I'm on the 4th feather. So yeah, I've made a bit of progress. I think it was a day or 2 I stitched on that outside. So yeah, it's so hot, it's hard to stitch outside for me. So I've got to wait until the evening to get stitching again. So those were my 2 new starts so far for Market Mania. My plans are quite loose for the other 3. I might start Plum Street Rejoice, but I might start that Rose, the Valet stitch, the French stitch. And then I did have one other new start. Now you won't be surprised by this because if you saw my Flosstube special last week, I did put a little clip. You remember when I went down to Cowslip, we had this stunning project given to us by Stacey as part of our retreat project. And it's called the Leaping Rabbit Sewing Pouch and Pin Keep. And there are 2 sides to it. So I started on the lighter side, which is stitched on 36 count Blackberry Primitives, hand-dyed linen in Fossil. And then the back of it is in this really dark, beautiful linen. again by Blackberry Primitives in 36 count, but it's called Salem, and it's really, really dark. So this is in a little bag that I bought by Blackberry Primitives. It's different front and back. It's perfect size for the Stacey Nash charts. And my lovely friend, Just So Sherry, stitched this in a little table gift. And so I've put it on my bag, and it'll always remind me of Sherry and the fun we had down in Cowslip. And this is my progress. So let me show you actually the size of the piece. So it's a big piece because there are the other part to the project that's stitched on Fossil is this gorgeous pin keep. And at the end, when I put the photos in, next to the photo of this kit, I put in a picture that my lovely friend Alice Crow, she's Crow's Nest on Instagram. She sent me a picture of a thatched cottage. I don't know, I don't think it was in Cornwall, but it was sort of Dorset, Devon way, I fancy, I'm not sure. But it's a thatch roof of a cottage with ducks that the thatcher had made along the top of the roof. And so I put 2 photographs in because I think I was rabbiting on about that in my Flosstube special, about how the thatcher leaves that as their kind of trademark if you decide to choose that in your thatch roof. So I've managed to get a real life picture and put that in at the end for you. So thank you, Alice, for sharing. So this is my progress on the front or the back, I think it's the front of the sewing pouch, and the colours are glorious. So this bright pink that's in the around the hearts and here in this flower and down in these honeysuckle is Madison Rose by Weeks Dye Works. Let me show you the threads because are they here? They are. Oh yes, with my lovely floss drop from Melanie Skinner that was on our Mel Next Door on Instagram that stitched the fabulous Crackers 1/1. These are the lovely threads, and this is the pink I wanted to show you that pops so well. Instead of red pear, it's Madison Rose, and it just really stands out well on the dark fabric. So that is the fabulous other new start, and here's the little needle book that Alice made for us. Isn't it lovely? So yeah, I can't wait. I've stitched on this quite a few evenings actually, and I started taking this lovely green border across in Weeks Oscar. And if I just show you again the front, you'll see how far. So I'm actually up to here now, so not too much more to go. And we've got everything in the kit, all the finishing fabrics and some lovely strips off a jelly roll so we can make the handle and do the binding and everything. So I'm really excited to get working on that, and hopefully I'll be finishing the front before too long, and then I can make a start on the gorgeous little thatched cottage pinky. I can't wait. Although it's got specialty stitches in, and apparently it's a lot of solid stitching. So I don't know if anyone's finished it yet. And then last time I told you that I do Whipgo. I absolutely love Whipgo. I love the surprise of, you know, when the numbers are drawn and it's like a bingo game. You don't know what's gonna be picked. So last time I had the fabulous surprise of having 2 Plum Street projects picked. This one is in my gorgeous Laurie Holt kind of autumn bag. That was one of the ones on the panel with my Trixie, Jodie Trixie Tricycle little project card holder. And my fabulous Laurie Holt pumpkin scissor pull. And this project was one we got from the Autumn of Abundance retreat at the end of 2023. So it's Real Comfort by Plum Street, and it is a huge piece of work because it's pretty solid stitching. And this time I wanted to start one of the side houses and get down to the flowers, and I did. I stitched a lot of time on this actually. I spent a lot of time on it. These are the colours. We were given this gorgeous fob and a tiny little one with a little acorn on it. Pumpkin, is it? It's a pumpkin. And here's the little mushroom. Oh, it's so much fun. Gorgeous colours. Let me show you the colours. All the autumn feels. And I really enjoyed stitching on this. So I did quite a bit. This is on 36 count Fox and Rabbit Saltbush. Beautiful linen. Beautiful linen. So this time, I can't remember whether I did fill in on the house. I think I did. And I did all of this side house here. I'm pretty sure I hadn't done any of it. It's just solid filling. And then I did these 4 top of the yellow flowers at the bottom. And it's going to be an exact duplicate on the other side. So I tell you, this is going to take years because I did spend days and days on this. So it's going to be in Whip Go for another 10 years. But I love it. And it's just going to be so much fun because around the edge there's all the confetti, little acorns and leaves. It's so pretty. Even the variegation in those yellow flowers was so much fun. I think it's whiskey, Weeks Whiskey. Fabulous. Now, one of the windows in here has got the light on, so it's filled in with yellow. And it's little attention to detail like that. Little things that make these things just so much fun to stitch on. Then my last project for the month, which I spent probably the most time of any project on, because I love it so much. And also I took it down to cowslip. So when I was watching the snooker final in the evening, this was an easy one to just fill in. This is in my Brenda Riddle bag that I made, again in Dover, with the thread bed inside. And this was Plum Street, Live on Little, which is a big stitch, and I haven't done any of the border. But I have done lots and lots of the filling. Now this again is on 36 count Fox and Rabbit Hog Bristle. And wow, I have done loads on this. So this time, last time I think I'd done the fill in this side of the house. And this time I told you I wanted to fill in this. And so that's what I've done. I filled in all of that blue waves and sea, and I did the 3 little special flags that you personalise for your initials. So that is S, E and P, all in reds, blues and whites. So cute, isn't it? So I've already done all the filling across the bottom of the creatures in the sea and the little mermaid with her looking glass. Where is she? Doing her lipstick. And the boat. Oh, I did the house first because I think I started in the middle, and those bricks took so long because they're all different and they're all random. But now I think there's green grass and a little chapel and then the big floral motif in the writing. So I think I've broken the back of it. But again, this is a 10-year whip in anyone's book if you're going to put it away for Whip Go. Love it. Absolutely love it. There's a lot of DMC, and actually in my book of days, I finished a whole skein of 927, which is one of these blues, probably this paler one. And can you believe, I don't think, you don't often finish a skein of DMC. So I love that. And it's such a fun stitch. You can just, so I did hours and hours on it, but hardly made any progress. So that's all of my whips. In terms of plans, I'll come on to it because it's linked to my Portbury trip. One other plan, obviously I'm really excited to get going on my Stacey, to keep going on my Stacey Nash and start the little pin pillow. But there was another one, I was so inspired when I saw my friend, I put a photograph up on my last Flosstube special of Alice Crow, which she's Crow's Nest on Instagram. She was holding up Mary Bars. But she also had the most stunning finish of this Old White Farmhouse Sampler by Stacey Nash. She stitched it on, the Lakeside, what's the old grey one called? Cedar Plank, vintage Cedar Plank, which the most fabulous linen. This calls for 30 count R&R mink, which I can't get. So what I thought I'd do is swap it for a paler grey, but a true grey. I think it'll work on this. Is picture this plus pewter, and it's a bit lighter than it's showing on the screen. It's so sunny outside. It's coming off dark in here. But what was interesting is that the threads have obviously changed quite a lot, because the blue on the urn is in anyone's book quite a dark teal, but it called for barrel cactus, and my barrel cactus looked like that. Beautiful, but very much a pale, sort of like mountain misty grey, not a teal. So I did swap this out. I bought both Chesapeakes. I bought the Chesapeake by Weeks, which was too dark, and then Chesapeake Bay by Classic Colourworks, which I thought has a lovely variegation and would work, back to front, quite well for that on the pale linen. So let me show you. I think it'll look really nice on that with Eggshell for the farmhouse. And there's some lovely colours. I had to buy them actually because they were new to me. I don't use them I haven't used them very much. Desert Mesquite, which is a gorgeous green, very variegated, and Dolce de Leche, is it Italian for something milky coffee or something? It's quite a sort of pink colour actually. And then Eggshell, you can see the contrast. One's pink, one's cream. And then Onion Skin, which is a classic I've used many times for blackbirds. Pollywog, which is like a sort of mustard. I think it's in the roof. It might be in the dog. And then the barrel cactus, just to contrast. So interesting that the colours have changed. My chair's sinking again, sorry guys. And yeah, so I thought I'm quite keen to start that. I know I've got a lot of Stacey projects on the go now, but yeah, I kind of would like to get started. I've had it in my stash for so long, and if you don't start them, you're never going to finish them. So that was plans. So how are we doing? Now I need to show you my embroidery. How are we doing? 47 minutes, oh dear. Right, so this was such a fun stitch. So this month, the stitch was hydrangea. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous colours, beautifully packaged. This is what the threads look like. The most gorgeous sort of dusty grey blues, and a bit of a sort of periwinkle blue on the end there. Number one is 159. And these greens, the dusty greens, I call them, they are dusty, aren't they? They've all got a kind of grey back note to them, which is just perfect for the hydrangea. So, yeah, I don't think it's... Our embroidery for month 4 of the Herbarium series is the glorious hydrangea. This beautiful flower can be found in many colours, which is interestingly influenced by the pH of the soil. They're one of the longest flowering seasons, and we have chosen lots of subtle, gorgeous blues and greens for you to start work with. Okay, beautiful. So I finished it 2 nights ago on the weekend, and I absolutely love it. I didn't grunge it up because this linen has got quite a bit of mottling in it already, and I hope you can see it's got satin stitch leaves, split stitch stems in a brown. It's 2 different leaves, greens in the leaves, and then the actual flower heads are lazy daisies in 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, all the different blues, 2 threads in the needle, and with one of the pale greens you use for some of the leaves, and for some of them you put 1 blue and 1 green together, so there's each one is almost unique, you know, each set of 4. It's just so, she's just so clever to come up with it. And her sister Sarah stitched the one on the front of the chart there, so Sarah's just, you know, nailing it. So, and the lovely label comes with it. I Bondo webbed it on and also stuck the entomology pins. That's what they're called by Merchant Mills. I'll show you. A few people asked me actually, so I don't know, I can't remember if I showed them last time, but I kept them out to show you in case you wanted to know. So Merchant Mills, and they come wrapped in like a little envelope, so you do have to be careful when you open them so they don't all fly out on the floor. You just open them up and take them out. There's 100 in there, so plenty for all your stitchery projects. I didn't trim it down to 5.5 inches, but I will because I've done it to the others. So I absolutely love that. And then of course, every month I try to keep up with the Sarah, Nikki's sister from the Stitchery, does a label for the opposite page in the little book for when it comes to make it all up at the end. So this time she's done a kind of Good Witches apothecary. It's because hydrangea lifts a curse. Use hydrangea to lift a curse, that's what it says. So, and when you listen to Nikki's little tutorial on how to do the hydrangea, she tells a funny story about her granny and white witches. So anyway, I wasn't sure about doing the witches hats. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of witches because I think, I don't know, I like everything light, not dark in the world, but this is very light-hearted, isn't it? And as Carol Sockbox says, cute witches are okay. So this is a label for the hydrangea. And funnily enough, I won't be putting a photograph of this in at the end because when I looked up hydrangea in my Language of Flowers books, this is what it says: a boaster and heartlessness. So the hydrangea is kind of tinged with not a particularly merry flower, is it? Apparently, when Sarah looked at hydrangea, there's an old wives' tale that if you've got one growing near your front door or front garden, something like that, then a single woman won't get married. You stay single. So yeah, guys, if you want to get married, we shouldn't have hydrangea bushes in the front, by the front of our door. So that was my embroidery for the month, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think it's really, really pretty. And then I'm going to show you my quilting. So I struggled to keep up with it this month. Literally on Tuesday this week, I was away, and then on Wednesday I came back and I had to spend the whole day quilting to get all my homework done. So these are the 4 blocks for April that I'm doing in this fabulous, I've had this book for years. This is available at the Fat Quarter Shop. I'll put a link in my description box if you want to go and find this book. It's called Vintage Christmas by Laurie Holter, being my bonnet company. And it was getting really difficult to source the original colourway fabrics here on the front because they were from 2013 or something like that, even older possibly. And so what happened was that the Fat Quarter Shop decided to do a quilt along with Laurie's new fabric range called Hometown Holiday. So you have to follow Fat Quarter Shop monthly to see which colours Kimberly Jolly picks, and then she tells you, she shows you the picture, and then you can do the 4 blocks for each month. So for April, I did, these are the blocks that I finished: the Holly and the Ivy. Really pleased with it. Came out nicely, and I've cut it down to exactly 6.5. So that's ready. The next one was the Ice Skate block. Isn't it cute? It's got like a little sort of cowboy boot shaped heel on there. Although I suppose when you sew the seams together, it will finish like that. So pretty fabrics. These fabrics are just gorgeous. This time they were all on the white fabric, and I've just pulled the fabrics for next month, and we'll be going back to using that gorgeous dark grey one again. This one is the Jingle Bell block, and I managed to just about fussy cut Away in a Manger and get some music to go in the top of the bell. Really lovely block. they're all so gorgeous. Love them. Laurie's so talented. This is such a fun quilt along. And then look at this darling. This is the little deer block, and he's going to have button eyes, and he's going to have some either little horns back stitched, or you could bias tape. If you've got some bias tape, you could stitch that on if you like. But look at his little nose. I can't tell you how fiddly this was, but I'm really pleased with how it came out. There are literally 3/8 of an inch tiny little blocks in this. Oh yeah, the little brown blocks to do the corners on his nose. But I'm so pleased with how it came out. It all met up, and it took me a whole day to do 2 blocks. So yeah, I'm slow, but I'm really enjoying it, and they're coming out perfect, so I couldn't be more delighted. So those are my beautiful Laurie Holt vintage Christmas quilt along blocks. And as I say, I'll put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop, because I bought the kit for that fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. So I'll put the link in so that if you want the same, you can find that. And then I did my Bunny Hill designs, which I'm doing a block of the month. And I bought this from Sewing Studio in the UK. And I'm pretty sure I've only got block 12 left. So this time I did block 10, no, 11 is left. So this was block 10 for April, the birdhouse block. And yeah, My Summer House by Bunny Hill. Now, I've only done the shapes and sort of fabric glued them, applique glued them on. I haven't appliqued them down with thread, and because I literally finished this late on Wednesday, and I haven't done any of the backstitch for the bird's beak, eye, or his legs. So there's backstitch to be done, but I did finish all the applique on my block 9, and the all of the embroidery on that one for the lollipops. Remember that? And I had to do the backstitch for the ice cream in the shop window. And I think this block is so beautiful, really, really fun. And yeah, so much fun using this spray starch method. And I did buy a really useful little kit of, I'll show you, when I went to the Malvern Quilt Show, to make perfect circles, because some of my tiny circles are not quite perfect. The bigger ones are okay, but the weeny tiny ones, it's really hard. It all depends on how good your cutting out is of the little template to begin with from the paper. And with the best will in the world, you can't cut a circle perfectly by hand. So I bought these amazing little templates that'll help me get perfect circles. So I'm very, very pleased with that. And I think there's only one more block, and then it's going to be moving on to the really fussy, difficult sashing, which might take me 4 months, you know, 1 for the top, 1 for the bottom, and maybe at least 1 month to do each side. So that's my quilting, and I'm really pleased with my progress on that, although I've got so many other quilts that I'd like to start. I kind of can't wait to finish my Bunny Hill one now and get going on something else, but I'm being good and keeping going for now. So that's that. Then what's next on the agenda? Right, next on the agenda, Happy Mail. Now, at the end of April, I had a fabulous message from a lady called Rebecca Franks, and she is in the US. And she said she'd like to send me something, because I sent her, when I did Summer Swan with Thy Needle and Thread, I kind of just knocked up a very basic, simple UK flag from something I'd seen that was sort of on sideways, another chart I bought, but it was sort of a sloping one. Anyway, I tried to convert it into a straight on UK flag. I'm not sure if I got the Scottish lines right. But anyway, I shared it with Rebecca, and she used it on her Summer Swan and was so grateful that I shared it, that she sent me this fabulous little letter. It's so sweet. And card like this. And it's got Liberty on it. That's the theme of the card. So kind. And she hasn't been very well. And when she was recovering, she got back into stitching, and it helped her recuperate. And she sent me this little parcel, all beautifully wrapped with a gorgeous gingham ribbon. And I couldn't believe what she made me. When she said, I want to send you a little something, I thought, yeah, lovely, you know. And then I was blown away when it came. Look at this. Now, I'm pretty sure that this little lady is off Brenda Gervais with I Needle and Thread, Red, White and Blue, one of the sort of summer patriotic stitches. I'm sure I've got the little book, and I'm going to have to fish that out and start stitching it this summer, because I just think she's absolutely darling. So she's got a little American flag there, but she's flying the big British flag, and this is the one that I charted. It's very basic. Don't tell me if there's any mistakes in it. And surrounded by little bees, but look at the detail in that. And she's put my initials on it, Sean Perrington, and look at the label on the back. With love. Made with love. Just gorgeous linen. And this, I recognise this, I recognise the, is it Brenda Riddle? No, it's not, is it? I've forgotten what fabric it is. I know it. Everyone's shouting at me. And it's finished with this gorgeous measuring tape ribbon. And inside, I couldn't believe it. She's got a little flag on one of the pages. A blue scissors in the back with the little charm, an American charm, like a little scissor fob. It's Sweet Liberty, Land of Sweet Liberty. Is it Brenda Riddle? I don't know. And she's edged it all and put a little pocket in. She's put this. Oh, I just love it so much. And even done the little 28 and 26 in size for my needles. Rebecca, thank you, thank you. That wasn't all. There were also the pins. Can you believe it? How kind, how talented, and how thoughtful. And I will treasure it. I can't wait to use it now, because I was keeping it all nicely wrapped up so I could share it on my Flosstube. So that is some absolutely glorious Liberty Happy Mail. Loved it. Love it. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Then another little bit of Happy Mail I had was when I was down at Cowslip Studio. I met with my lovely friend Britta. You all know Britta Jenkinson on Instagram. And she had bought me at the same time, well, I ordered it with Britta. We shared the postage of a Winterberry case that we bought from Hobby House. So we thought we'd share the postage together. I'll just show you quickly what this looks like inside, because this is the colourway I chose, the lime green. I'm pretty sure this is the same colour that Rika's got. And inside it's lined with baby pink. Just beautiful, this suede inside. And I just started to think of a couple of things that I'd like to keep in this box. This pale pink Kohana needle minder, like a little magnet that we had in our advent calendar from the Stitchery, from Nikki Franklin. And my newest pale pink Kohana scissors. Don't they look gorgeous in there? So I'll think of some other things to go. But Rika kindly gave me this Happy Mail of the Gloriana thread called Flamingo that we were struggling to get for our French, was not Isabel Valet, somebody Valet, you know the chart that called for this. I showed it, was one of my top market favourites this year. But this was the called for silk to stitch that in, and we were struggling to get it. Anyway, Rika very kindly tracked that down. I think she said she got it at Jenny Adding Christie. It's a lovely little shop. I've never been there yet, but now I know she stocks all the 103s, and I'm pretty sure that this is where Britta got the Glorianas. So there we are. They sit in this gorgeous little sort of suede tray, which sits on top of that in my new stitchy box that I'll be able to take to retreats. So I'm dead happy with that. So thanks for organising the purchase of that, Britta, as if I needed any encouragement. And when we were there, Britta brought this lovely little gift along, because do you remember my friend Debbie B, who runs the Stitch West retreats, I think it is, and she has a Flosstube called Snug Harbour Crafts. She runs with her daughter, and I spent a lot of time with her in the car with Pam and Linda and Rika. We went for meals together and we had such a lot of fun, and she kindly gave me this necklace at the retreat, and she sent one over for Britta because I think she'd run out and Britta wanted one, so she sent one for Britta. And then she also sent us, she must be a queen at doing these little felt finishes, so she sent this over for me when she sent Britta's necklace to her, this beautiful pincushion. So I had that when I was down at Cowslip. So thank you, Debbie, so kind and thoughtful to share that with me. And it was so lovely to meet you, and I hope our paths cross again, because we did have so much fun. So it's so hot in here, I will take that off for now. And a beautiful little card from her with the bunnies on. Just the loveliest happy stitchy mail. So that was my happy mail, and now I'm going to move on to haul. Now there's 3 separate parts to this haul. One is my normal shopping that I did over the last 2 months that all sort of arrived, and then the next is from Portbury on Tuesday, and then the last part is what I bought yesterday at the Malvern Quilt Show, which was an amazing epic shop of all time. Please don't judge me. So I'll start first with my, I don't think I shared this with you last time. First of all, my Fabric of the Month Club with Accufactum. These were the fabrics actually for May, because I think Drew sent us a note, Nikki's husband, to say that he'd sent May out instead of April, because that was the order that he received them. So bless him, he just did as he was told. So these were the 4 beautiful fabrics for May, with a little cross stitch in the design there with the birds. And this one's got all the gorgeous sort of stitchy theme, the little pin cushions, just gorgeous. Can't wait to make something with that. And then the blenders, the tweed in red, which I've got a few of those now in various colours, and this gorgeous green one, which is a new design. So those are the 4 Accufactum fat quarters, and I think in the States you can get these from Willow Cottage Quilting in Canada, and Nikki Franklin at the Stitchery supplies Australia, New Zealand and Europe. So that's the fabrics. It's piling up. Then of course, I don't think I shared this with you, the stunning bag that we had from Barry Stitch Folk, which has got a pocket design sewn onto the front. And Barry has suspended now the next couple of quarters of the project bags because she's got a lot to deal with her mum recently passing away. So sad. So yes, this was the last one that we'll probably have for the year. But it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. And the fabric on the back and lined with, look at that, mini star. It's just so pretty. So plans, another loose plan I've got in here is my Queen of the May by Hands Across the Sea that Nicole Apartments so kindly let me have, and one as a giveaway. And I've just bought the linen from Tabby Cat, from Michelle, and she was in the UK and kindly posted this to me, and this is just the ticket, 40 count, just the ticket. It's the most glorious colour. It's going to be so beautiful. So I'm just waiting for the silks. I've ordered the 103s from Sue at Peakside, actually, because I got into a conversation with her. I didn't realise she stocked the 103, so I was kind of obliged then. I would have tried them from Jenny, as in Christy, but I've kind of committed now to Sue. I didn't want to mess her about, so I'm going to get them there at Peakside. So that is the beautiful Barry project bag. So that was my kind of monthly things that I do. And then I did see that the So Hot, which is a shop in the UK, had got in their stock of Laurie Holt. So I treated myself to this sort of little patriotic bag and the scissor pull, just this badge thing. And then I did get the charm pack just so I can make up some lovely table gifts, you know, from the charm pack, or some thread beds, because they're such pretty fabrics. I just love the Americana. I wanted to do the big quilt, but I can't start everything. Yeah, so look, there was a bit of a theme going on. And it's funny, actually, at the Malvern Quilt Show, they actually had these buried at the bottom of a pile of project bags. And when I spotted Laurie's things in the Quilt UK shop, you've got to know what you're looking for, haven't you? And I went straight to the bottom of the pile, and sure enough, they had this there yesterday. But anyway, I bought this at So Hot a couple of weeks ago as soon as it came in. So love that. Don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. So that was some of my haul. And then one other bit of haul I got. I needed a load of threads, and this chart had come back into Peakside. This was out of stock following market. So it's Quaint Rose Needle Arts, Strawberry Thieves Pin Keeps. And I just thought it was so cute, because wouldn't it be great to have that chart to make up the little needle book for retreats, for exchanges or giveaways. I just thought they were very pretty. That's a mattress, 2 pillows and a little needle book. So, yeah, I think I've got all the threads for that. I just thought that was really sweet. So I treated myself to that chart when I had a couple of threads thrown in. And then one other thing. When Sarah from the Stitchery, Nikki's sister, when she was down in Cowslip, she had a special offer that if you did an online order in the shop but waited for them to come back for the postage to be the following week, then they would throw in some needles and a Stitchery Sisters highlighter, which is always really useful. And all comes so beautifully packaged in their pink tissue paper. So I got a size 28 Bowie needles in this little... So they were complimentary if you were patient and waited. And so I did order this stunning linen. I wanted to try it. I can't remember who ordered it, whether it was Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, maybe Jordan, Tattooed Stitch. Somebody in the States had ordered, picture this, plus Murmur. I think it's a new colour, and it's the most gorgeous dusky pink. It's really pink. So I got a fat quarter of that because they had that at the Stitchery. And then I ordered the little needle minder because I ordered this chart. Ernestine Briere 1909, and I've always loved this. So when I saw that I didn't have to have the PDF that I normally get, the Reflet de Soie, I normally order the PDFs at some Etsy shop, but when I realised how easy it was to get the paper chart from the Stitchery, I went online and ordered it straight away. I just think that is a fabulous stitch. So I'm going to be doing that at some point. Ernestine Briere, January, 27th of January, 1909. Stunning, very French feels, isn't it? And look how it goes together. It's so pretty all together that I did put a photograph in at the end. So yeah, Sarah's got so much stuff now in her shop at Stitchery. In fact, she's got her own Stitchery Sisters online store now. She doesn't share with Nikki anymore. She's got her own shop. So good for her. So that was my sort of normal purchases, and I've been pretty good, I thought, for 2 months. But then I went down to Portbury, and Becky said, oh, come on, it's only in Bristol. Come over and meet me face to face. So I got in the car and I got there in time for coffee. And I didn't realise how many of the ladies I would know at Portbury, because I think there are 40 American ladies that have come over for the Cowslip Studio, an incredible holiday for a 3 or 4 week period. And they go to St Mary's Church in Portbury, which is in Bristol. It's beautiful there. And they go for, they call it a needling retreat. Now, I thought needling was a craft, but I think it just covers, you know, wool applique, cross stitch, all the crafts in general, and embroidery. So I went along, and I'll put photographs in at the end because Becky's work is stunning. Now, I couldn't go to her retreat this year. She's holding it down. I think it's at the end of August or September, when I was already on a couple of retreats, and I thought, Sean, you can't do everything, you know, so I had to not go. But the lovely thing about it is that Sally Humble Bumble Stitcher is going to be doing the cross stitch part of that retreat at Whitchurch Silk Mill down in Hampshire. And Becky's doing the wool applique part. So there'll be a kit from the both of them, and they are both such talented ladies. So when I went to Portbury, I had a fabulous time meeting Becky. I've got lots of photos in at the end of her stunning wool work. And of course, on today, she was giving them their wool applique kit, which is the most stunning little pouch bag. A little bit like Stacey's bag, but covered in wool applique with a leap in hair, which is her kind of Becky's, what is she? She's willow and hair stitching. So everything's kind of got a leap in hair on it. And I took lots of pictures of her work. So do have a look. And if you get a chance to go to any of her retreats, you should sign up. It's stunning. So when I was there, I did invest in 2 of her charts, even though I don't know if or when I'm going to start wool applique. But I did treat myself and support Becky by picking up this 4 Seasons in a Day pincushion. Oh, it was so pretty, guys. So it's spring on one side, summer on the other, autumn, and then winter with the red rose hips. Such a pretty cushion with a leap in hair on the top, and of course all with the lovely linen and these wool applique pieces that you use. Is it like Bonder web? You know, you iron the wool on and then you whip around the edges. And the other one I fell in love with was this In the Meadows Notions purse, and she'd made it up so beautifully. So now I've got some wool from Cowslip, I might actually start thinking about getting the nerve up to have a go, or maybe I'll wait until I can actually spend some time with Becky and she can show me how to get started. But those were 2 fabulous little charts, and that's her logo there, willow and hair stitching. Such a lovely lady, and she's a radiologist by day in the NHS. So honestly, one of our absolute heroes, working in the NHS and doing this in her downtime and teaching and going around these retreats. Just so much fun. So it was a pleasure to spend the day with her. But when I was there, I met so many people. I actually managed to have a really lovely chat with Maggie Bononomy, who you know is just the queen of wool applique, and she'd done this incredible project all in browns and creams. I put a lovely picture of it in at the end. Do have a look. It said Portbury UK on the top, and then upside down on the bottom, I can't remember now where Maggie's from, but the name of her village on the bottom. And she was so interesting to talk to, fascinating, and she was telling me all about how her turnip, because she's MB Turnip on Instagram, how her handle had come about. Such an interesting lady. Also, Sally Humble Bumble Stitcher was there, and Jill, who is Pink Moon Gazing Hair on Instagram. And they were so kind. Sally gave me these 2 little gifts when I was there, and a little wooden heart to go in my travel stitchy case. Oh, so sweet. Probably from Cowslip. That looks familiar. And I met such lovely ladies. I put photographs in at the end because I do want you to, I'm going to tell you a little story. I met this lady, Quilt Knit 17 on Instagram, Jerry Ann Ferry, who gave me these gorgeous little pictures, photographs of tomatoes and ephemera with this lovely logo. So these were her floss drops that she shared with me. So, so kind. What else? Oh, then I met Caroline and Patty, who I was on the same table with at the attic for Sampler Symposium. No, not Sampler Symposium, Autumn of Abundance in 2023 when we met Paulette and Alma from Blackbird. I couldn't believe it. I walked in the church and there they were in Maggie Bonomi's class, sitting down, wool applique in. And it was so bizarre to see them out of context in the UK. And Caroline is from a farm in Oregon. And Patty is a really, really brilliant quilter. I follow her on Instagram and her quilts are just stunning. And they gave me, Carolyn gave me this gorgeous little scissor fob that she'd made. And Patty gave me this, which is always so fabulous, some little vintage buttons on a bulb pin so I can put them in my little primitive pillows. So kind and thoughtful to do that. So those were the ladies I met. I also met a lady called Kimberly who was so friendly. She was from Houston in Texas and does all the Laurie Holt quilts that I'm doing and a lot more. I met the two Cheryls, Cheryl Hancock, who I've met many times and came over to Cowslip this year and last year. We shared the same B&B. And Cheryl Ashley, who's always got the fabulous vintage sewing jewellery. And this time she'd bought from an antique shop in Cornwall a little silver needle case and just put it on a necklace. And it was just the most exquisite piece of jewellery, so clever. I met Nita, who was so funny and entertaining, one of Carol Saltbox's friends. I met Anne from Bath, who I went on the retreat to Bridgend with Loopy Lou's stitching group. I met Mandy, an American lady who's now living in Ireland. She's been living there for 4 years and was so friendly and came up to me and had a lovely chat. But one of the highlights was that I met a lady called Carol Walter from Ohio. I put some pictures in at the end because she brought the most exquisite finishes of Stacey Nash's. She actually sent me a little video when I was with her. She airdropped it. I can't download it. I don't know what I've done to it. Showing all her Stacey's finishes. She's pretty much stitched everything. I can't do it justice in the few photographs I took and put in at the end, but please go and have a look. I've got a picture of Carol, so if you recognise her, you'll know which work is hers. And I got chatting to her and I was so blown away by just the sheer number of sewing rolls and the little crumbs. She's done the bear, she's done Oliver, she's done them all. And the little rabbit, and she's finished them in such a beautiful primitive style that when I got chatting to her, I said, well, is this all the finishes you do? Is it only Stacey that you stitch? And she said, oh no, I also love Mary Cox and I've done a lot of her finishes. And obviously she's very friendly with Mary Cox. And that sort of, I had a light bulb moment and thought, I wonder if she knows Nita Brock, because remember Nita that I made my gorgeous little decoupage box with at the Needlework Press day when we went to Vicky Jeanette's house. And Nita was so kind and gave me the pin cushion that she made. And she was so patient with us making up these in the workshop. And Nita was very friendly with Mary Cox. And there's this lovely group of ladies that all know each other. So sure enough, when I said to Carol, do you know Nita? She said, do I know Nita? She's a really good friend of mine. We're practically at Vicky Jeanette's house on a weekly basis. You know, they're always back and forth stitching together these wonderful finishes. So I was glad I asked her, and I was proud of myself for remembering the names because I'm horrid with names, as you know. So I did have to write the names down of who was at Portbury. So that's my little story, and hopefully you'll have a look at the photos at the end. But I must say as well, one of the highlights at Portbury was, of course, Stacey and Tanya were there again, Tonya. And I begged Stacey to see whether there were any spare kits for the Portbury project, because remember last year's project was across the pond and I managed to get a copy of that chart. And so I managed to get one of the last of these rather beautiful exclusive kits in another colour bag, this time a brown one. And this was called, now there's a reason why I had to have this. I did live in Portsmouth for 3 years, and the Mary Rose is that very, very famous ship that the wreckage, well, it's been restored now, I think, since I was a student there back in the 90s, early 90s. Actually 1988 I went there, and I left in 1991. The Mary Rose sewing roll and box pinky, absolutely beautiful. So the little box pinky has got a whale on one side and a picture of the ship on the other there, and the sewing roll and all the finishing fabrics are included, and it is on these gorgeous Blackberry Primitives linens, this time 2 different colours. This time 36 count Portbury beige and 36 count clove, which is the darker one, I think used for the little box pinky, because all of the pale colour around the edge, the circle is surrounded by pashmina silk. So the linen around the side is dark brown for the band, but the actual brown linen circle is the linen, and it's surrounded with the cream pashmina, if that makes sense. Let me show you this kit. This is, I mean, this is an expensive kit because we are going to be using, it took me an hour to gently unwind these. These are Gloriana pashmina silks. So I've never seen them, I've never heard of them. They're the most unusual and exquisite thread I've ever felt. It is a wool. It's like a wool that you want to just knit yourself a jumper in. It is so fine and so soft, and you can feel the silk in it, but it doesn't feel like shiny and catchy like silk. It feels like the most exquisite, well, pashmina, like a pashmina scarf that you would pay a lot of money for. Look at the colours. Look at the thread drop. So it took me a few hours on Wednesday in between my quilt blocks unwinding these glorious pashmina silks. I think we're going to have to use a size 26 needle, because apparently we pull 2, they come in threads of 4. It says on the back, I'll show you. So it's pashmina, cashmere and silk, and it's in 4 strands. So you use 2 at a time for this stitch on 36 count. So we're going to be using a 26 needle, not a 28, to reduce shredding, and shorter lengths, because I think this is a thread that is so delicate, you know, you wouldn't want to risk shredding. But look at the colour, look at the colours against the linen. Just stunning. And some of the finishing fabrics, just classic Stacey colours, all beautifully wrapped up. And some of the finishing, oh. So this colour is Portbury beige, beautiful. So yes, if Tonya keeps making these silks, these linens, I can't recommend them enough. They are absolutely just so different because they're so dark. They're glorious colours. So that was my little haul. It was not too much. So 2 charts from Becky and the kit from Stacey, but it was an expensive shop. And then of course I went to Malvern then on Thursday. And the last thing I said to Phil before I left was, well, you know, there's nothing on my list. I won't be buying anything. I'm just going to go to see Crafting Kirsty. You know Kirsty, my friend, who's got her own Flosstube and goes to the Great British Sampler Weekend with me. I'll see her in September this year. We're on the same table. And my lovely friend who was down at Cowslip with me last week, who is Tuppence Perry, and she is Leslie. She was on the other table, but in the same retreat as me, and is going to Swindon as well. So they both go to Malvern. And last time I went with Kirsty, this time the 3 of us met up. So I thought, well, I must go and meet them. And I didn't have any idea how wonderful the Malvern Quilt Show was going to be. It was just so much fun. And I think it was better than when we went in October. So it was like less Christmassy themed, but I'd say the quality of the stands was better. and I've bought some, what I think, just gorgeous hauls. So let me show you how we're doing. 129. Oh dear. I do have a lot to share. I did buy a lot of things. First thing I did was went straight to the stall that I know sell the little, like, what do you call it? Bobbins and charms, accessories. She's called TP Crafts, and she had this cute little wooden Silco bobbin that I thought could come in useful for any finishing, like for Lily, or, you know, just to keep in my lovely new travel sewing case with some lace around. Then 2 of these bobbins that you can hang, you know, the linen banding finishes off. So they were going like hotcakes. She only had 1 box of those, and I managed to get 2, and they were really cheap. I couldn't leave them there, so I did treat myself to those. Then I went straight over to this store, the Quilt the Quilt Shop, because you know they're down in Tenby in West Wales, and I love to support them because they're stocking Laurie fabrics and all her bits, you know, what's the word for it? The accessories, all the rulers, all the scissors. And so I treated myself to a couple of things there. I got a Laurie tape measure because they had all the colours, and this was a colour I didn't have. I stocked up on my little 1/4-inch cute buttons, which you need for quilting. So the little deer will have 2 of these buttons for his eyes. So I got another bag of those, and I'll decant them into one of my cute little jars. I got a lovely little bird charm that I didn't have, and a lovely little strawberry charm that I did have, but are really handy to put in needle books. I also, this is the Perfect Circle little templates that I was telling you about. So this is Karen K. Buckley, and it's her scissors that I use for cutting out my applique shapes. And this time she had these wonderful circles that you can recycle in the most tiny sizes, so that I can get perfect circles if I carry on doing applique, and could come in handy for my wool as well. So I treated myself to those, and I did get these, which I've never had and I've always wanted, and I got the quilting size. They're very fine, extra fine 0.4 mils, 50 pins for patchwork. The magic pins, that they've got the little kind of turquoise top. I've seen Nikki Franklin use those. I've seen Kimberly as well at the Fat Quarter Shop use them. So I was dying to treat myself to those. Then the lady that does my long arm quilting, Jo from Lulu Quilts, up in Rockwood, is it? Or is it Rock in Monmouth? She has a fabulous store. And last time I treated myself to all the Kim Deal grungy greens from the girl that she works with next door. But this time I just treated myself to a fun sew-on badge for my either a project bag or maybe even my denim jacket. I'm feeling very inspired after, I've forgotten her name. I'll have to tell you next time. She decorated her denim jacket and it's gone clean out of my head. She's a friend of Kim's, the Contented Needleworker. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I will, next time I'll remember. And I got some labels to sew into the side of project bags or quilts or little needle books, just like Rebecca did for that. Really cute for giveaways and gifts. So I love those, and they're really bright and cheerful. And then along the strawberry theme, because of that fabulous chart I bought, I also picked up a little bundle. Look at these strawberry colours. This was very cheap. I think 4 fat quarters for £10. So I couldn't leave that there. Just for finishing the backs of those little strawberry pillows, just the perfect like strawberry colour. So I got those. Then and one odd thing, yeah, we picked up 3, and we all got these. Actually, me and Leslie got them. We got the Moda Pine Valley little charm pack, which is sort of like a Christmas colourway of all the greens and reds. Really pretty, we like those. And it was 3 for a price, so we had to get 3. Then this gorgeous one, Hollyhocks and Roses by Bunny Hill Design, which is sort of like a bit more patriotic, summertime, pink, red and blue. Love that. And then the third one we got was the classic Last But One French General in the Rouenier Trois. So all the pinks and beiges of that gorgeous range, and you've seen this many times, I'm sure. Weirdly, there was none of the new French General Sacre Bleu. We couldn't see it anywhere. I don't think it was in the whole of the Malvern Quilt Show, unless Cowslip, because they had a gorgeous stand. We saw Jo from Cowslip and the girls, and we also saw them selling the Strawberry Cottage needle roll, you know, the exclusive Stacey Nash chart. So if you wanted that, that's where you can order it. It's exclusive to Cowslip, and you can order it online. And if you email them, they'll ship anywhere in the world, apparently. So I promised Stacey Nash that I would tell you that, because I think some people were struggling to get shipment outside the UK, but Cowslip will ship globally. So yeah, so we got some little fabrics there. Then what did I get? Well, then we found this little shop called Little So-and-so. Great name, isn't it? So this is Sam Townsend, and in this store they were selling these little kits by Hatched and Patched, and this is an applique pencil case, and it came with the fabric with it. So I thought I might practice on this one before I try Becky's one, and it's called the Little Things pencil case, and they had these little darling little wool bundles. So of course I had to get the blue one, because Sherry had the blue one, didn't she? Just So Sherry, which I didn't get down at Cowslip. And it's called 4U's Mini Lamb Pack. And this is the Stormy Teacup range. Look at the colours. Oh, fabulous. So I treated myself to the little wool, because I thought I could find a place for the blues in there. Then on another wool stand, I just topped up with a strawberry red, because I didn't have reds, and just a few other little ones that I can sort of, if I wanted to start wool applique, I can. So just some neutrals there for the leaves and things. 2 little scrap bags that they had in the lovely, now I've forgotten the range. It's not Hatched and Patched. It's the other, it's the other Australian design. Let's have a look. It's, so this one is Hatched and Patched. This is Annie Downs. Annie Downs scrap bag, because her fabrics are only tiny pieces, but we couldn't leave them there for this. So I got a Christmas one, greys and green and reds. Just gorgeous, and you know, useful for finishing little pillows, because what I love about Annie Downs is that her prints are just so tiny, very like the ones that Shepherd's Bush use. So that was a really fun little shop, and a beautiful little store we found. Then the next stall was, and I've shown you this before, when I went in October, I bought this chart for a gorgeous little quilt that they had on display by Monkey Buttons. And this quilt pattern was called the Kensington Star. And it was really grungy. When I bought the chart, I bought it from the daughter, and Monkey Buttons is based in Wolverhampton, monkeybuttons.com. And I remember going on the website, and it wasn't that user-friendly, and I couldn't track down the kit. But this time the mum was on the stall, and when I asked her, she knew straight away. So she had the actual kit of mixed fabrics, all different. So this is like, to me, really precious, because it's a collection of all the different ranges that kind of just would work. And there's some grungy greens, there's some quite limey greens actually, but when you see them put into the quilt, knocked back by the browns and the beiges and these dusty, dirty blues, it just worked. I fell in love with it. I put a picture at the end, I think. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I had too many pictures. So I'm very excited to start that. I just think it's a bit different and sort of grungy. Kind of like it. So that was a bit of a splurge, but actually really good value for money. So I couldn't leave the kit there for that. Then we found a gorgeous stand, which wasn't there in October, called Sue Hawkins. And I've heard of her before. Somebody told me she was going to be at Malvern this time. And oh, I put photographs of her display. Her work was just exquisite. So I treated myself. She was there. She was so lovely. I treated myself to this rose, what's it called? Damask rose scissor keep. And she had them all made up. That's one side, and this is the other side. It reminds me very much of a cushion that I stitched when I was in my early 20s, that I got rust spot on and had to throw away after years of having it. So it's this very similar type stitch to that, all in greens and pinks, my favourite colour combo. So I bought that, and it's a kit that comes with all the threads, and it's on a type of canvas. And she had one all set up as a demonstration. And then this other one, the Damask Rose Pincushion, which is a little bit like the finish that Kathy from Hands On Design is doing in a special class. So it's not a, you just sort of join the seams on the side here. Oh, it was so pretty. And look at the type of stitches on the corners. So I'm excited to try this. Heaven knows when. I've got so much to do. All kitted, really reasonably priced. Please go and have a look at her website, SueHawkins.com. All one word, Sue Hawkins. She was so charming. And then at the end of the day, I went back for the third one because it was on my mind. This is a needleworks called Eat All Your Greens, and it's a scissor stand. It's got a little magnet that goes on the end of your scissors, and all of this raffia type work is stitched. And it's got a little vegetable garden on the top with the little cauliflowers. It was just on my mind. I had to go back and get it. It was so beautiful. So I tried to get a picture of these things in at the end. And again, I love practical things that you can make and then use in your sewing box. So I'm really looking forward to putting that in the box that Britta shipped over for me. Then I saw on a stand, I forgot to show you one thing. Under my quilting finishing, I made my panel up that we had at Sampler Symposium from Vicky Jeanette do you remember Mrs. Ventum's boarding school? We had this panel of that sampler, which is really precious to Vicky. I think there were only 5 left in the world, and Vicky's got a few of them. And this is a picture of one. They're very precious. And so she gave us the panel, and I used nearly all of my spare meterage of French General to go around the edges and put the border on, insert the zip, and use on the back. I did a kind of crosshatch quilt on the back, and I also used another whole 1/2 meter on the lining inside. So this is all beautiful, really old French General. I can't even remember what. It's one of the red rouge, La Moulin Rouge. I think so. Well, I think that was the inside. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I used up a lot of my own stash of French General meterage. So when I was there and I saw these odd old French Generals, I picked these 3 up, which I thought would just come in my stash. So some meterage for finishing project bags, probably a bit too big for backing pillows, but just so pretty and so old-fashioned. I just loved them. So I picked those up. Yeah, didn't I do well? I tell you what, I restrained myself a bit because I could have bought even more. And then later in the day, I was left unattended while the girls popped to the ladies. And the stand right next door to the loo was Helen Steele. And I was on my own and started looking. Next thing you know, I picked up this little kit to make up this pouch. They had little notions bags, and this was so sweet. So I did put a picture in at the end, I think. So her fabrics are really, really bright and fun and quite different, the sort of thing you could use to make a knitting pouch. And it's got all the instructions and the fabrics in there to make myself a little knitting drawstring bag. So I'm excited to have a go at that. And they said if there were any questions on the making up, they take, you know, emails, they'll help you out. So that was lovely. They were lovely. So please go and have a look. Helen Steele patched drawstring bag kit. And they had other gorgeous pouches in gorgeous bright pinks, and they've all got little labels and everything. And then one more thing, and I've saved the best till last. Do you remember when I was in Cowslip, I found that gorgeous French fabric? And thank you so much. Two ladies got in touch with me straight away. Sharon Graham, who lives in County Antrim in Northern Ireland, she runs a fabulous shop called Country Stitchery. She does a lot of embroidery type things, like very much like the stitchery that Nikki Franklin does. And she told me that the company was called finefrenchlinen.co.uk that stocked the French, you know, the toiles and the cherubs, and that I thought it was French General because it was sat right next to the French General, but it wasn't. The fabric line is actually called Mas Duzvan. I put a picture in at the end if you're interested. The lady that supplies it to Australia is Australian, and she supplies it to the UK through her site, finefrenchlinen.co.uk. It's a run of French fabrics that have been out of print for a couple of decades, and a guy called Bruno Lamy in Paris has started reprinting, and Fiona is the only stockist for UK and Australia at the moment that has it. There is a shop in the US, because I know Rika was interested, so I think Rika's going to track it down there. But my other lovely friend that helped me find this was Marion. Is it Marion? I think it is. Von der Sand from the Netherlands, who's been following my channel from the very beginning. And I think it is Marion. She got in touch with me to say that was the brand of the fabric. So of course I tracked Fiona down. We got chatting. What a lovely girl. And she said, I'm going to be at Malvern on Thursday. So it was my favourite stall. And I'm sorry to say that because I did love the Cowslip stall. And there were loads of really cool stalls. But this stall, we were ages. All three of us, me, Leslie and Kirsty, all bought a kit of some sort or another there. So this is the card from Fiona. And Mas Duvans, France. It's just gorgeous linen. And it's a bit more reasonably priced than the French General. So I bought a kit when I was there for the boudoir queen size quilt. And that's what it'll look like. So it's really simple, the design. It's just squares really, but the fabrics are here. So she picks out, I think she said there were 13 half meters in this bundle. And they're all, you can pick and choose off the stall which ones. If you didn't like one of them, you could swap them out. A few of these are repeats for the fat quarters that I just fell in love with down in Cowslip. There's a cherub's bottom. And the swinging ladies. And just fabulous dusky blues. And then, did I get a polka dot? I can't see a polka dot. I must have changed my mind. I've just got these lovely old linen. So some are linen, some are cotton, but they all go together. And then this was the one for the binding. A sort of darker browny charcoal to bind. Oh yeah, there is the polka dot. Look, there's art polka dots in there, which look really good on the sample quilts on the wall. You need a polka dot, don't you? Can't remember who said that, but might have been Laurie. So that was for the binding. And then the backing, she cut me the 2.5 yards because I'm going to have to join them, which makes me slightly nervous because I tend to buy the wide backs and avoid joining any pattern repeats, but I'm going to have to be brave and have a go. So this is the stunning, remember this scene I bought a fat quarter of? Well, now I bought 5 yards of it for the backing. It's just so pretty. So wouldn't it be a lovely wedding gift? Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. The story of the fabric and this quilt kind of covers all bases for that. Yeah. So I just fell in love with it. Absolutely gorgeous. So I've got all the backing fabric ready to go too. So there we are. I thoroughly recommend. And she was posting on Instagram yesterday and a picture of her new fabric that she got for Malvern, and she couldn't be a more lovely, helpful girl. What a glorious stall they had. So that was my favourite shop at Malvern, and that's all my shopping. So what we've got left? Well, all we've got now is to announce the winner of the giveaway. What have I done with my giveaways? Here. Okay, so this was the fabulous giveaway that Nicola Parkman so kindly donated for my 1-year anniversary, which seemed very appropriate for it to be the 2025 Queen of the May, Elizabeth Stevenson, 1854. She's a big girl and you'll need to do her on 40 count or whatever you like, but 40 count would be good because she is big. Just the Ticket by Tabby Cat is the linen. And I think you could do it in DMCs or the Oversoir. So the winner, I just did the random comment picker, and the winner was Victoria Lowe. So Victoria, I'll put a picture of your post at the end, and if you could get in touch with me, it is periwinklestitcher@gmail.com. And the giveaway for this time is the little bag that I bought a spare one of from Tonya at Blackberry Primitives. And I've got one of these. This was my favourite design with the house. And I've got a spare one to give away. So this time, if you're interested in this, please like, subscribe. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment with the words project for Project Bag. And tell me a little bit about your favourite project for this month that you're working on. Okay, and thank you so much for your time. I put a load of pictures in at the end of the quilts that were at the quilt show in Malvern. They were absolutely stunning. And one of my dear friends, Susanna, her dad, Hopkin Rees, is a really famous quilter in Wales. He wins so many awards for his quilts, and would you believe it? 4 of his quilts were on display. I think I've got a photo of 3 of them and a little bit of history of Hopkin and how he got into quilting. And so please read the story if you're interested at the end. And I think the last of his quilts that I posted was the green one. And then they move on to all the other candidates that have entered for the competition to win, to be judged at the Malvern Quilt Show. And I think that's being done on Sunday this weekend. So if you get a chance to go to Malvern, I highly recommend it. The shopping's fab. The quilts were amazing. And yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Please use the word project in your comments, and I will be back in a month. In the meantime, take care of yourself and happy stitching.